Hey guys, welcome to my channel. You may not know, but this is only my second video on YouTube, so if you haven't seen my last video, go check that out. In that video, I kind of introduced myself, I introduced what I want this channel to be, and I talked about one of the books that I've been in love with recently. I went on a very long tangent about the book Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I also talked about Colleen Hoover, some of the books of hers that I have. So today I wanted to do a video about the books that I read in the month of June. I also was going to include the books that I read in the month of May, but then I realized I had a slump in May, and I wanted to do that because I only have 3 books to show you today because I only read 3 books in June. But yeah, I only have 3 books to show you today. For the month of April, I started reading Twisted Love by Anna Huang, I think that's how you say it, and I just really didn't like it that much, so it took me so long to read it. I think I finally got through it at the end of June when I was on vacation. So I was stuck on this book and I couldn't finish it, so I kind of had a little slump the month of May and early June. So when I went on vacation, I brought some books with me, and I finished 2 books on vacation and I finished 1 book when I got home from vacation. So that's kind of what I'll be showing you today. But yeah, so I have no books for the month of May. Technically, Twisted Love is from April all the way to June because that's the book that put me in a slump, is pretty much what I'm saying. Anyway, the first book that I have for you guys is The Housemaid is Watching. I read the other 2 books from the Housemaid series and they were so good, and I was so excited for this to come out. And a few days before I went on vacation, I went to Barnes & Noble because I wanted to get some more books, and I went with my friends and they had this book and I was so excited because I didn't know when it was supposed to come out. So it was like perfect timing. I brought it on vacation with me and I read it in like 2 or 3 days. It was amazing. I love the Housemaid series. I think this was the perfect ending. I'm gonna try and do a good sort of overview. There's supposed to be like a 10-year gap between The Housemaid's Secret and The Housemaid is Watching. So this is 10 years later. Enzo and Millie are married and they have 2 children. I think the daughter is 12 or 11 and the son is 9. In book 2, Millie's living in the Bronx. When they fall in love and stuff, they're still living in the Bronx. And when they had their children, they were still living in the Bronx. Finally, they decide that it's time to move. They find a house in Long Island, which it's a little suspicious because the house that they bought was suspiciously cheap for the quality. You would think like the realtor would be like, oh, someone died in this house or something happened in this house, that's why it's so cheap. But they got no explanation. They just got it really cheap, but it was still too expensive for them. They took a risk buying this house, but it was the perfect home to raise a family in, so they bought it. Then it shows us how they meet their neighbors. The first neighbor is Suzette and her husband Jonathan. Immediately, Suzette is drawn to Millie's husband Enzo, and she kind of outright just flirts with them in front of Millie and in front of her husband. It kind of makes Millie on edge every time she's around Suzette. And then the other neighbor is this older woman who has a son that is around the same age as Millie and Enzo's son. They started going on playdates and stuff, but she's really creepy. And then it's told later on that she watches the neighborhood all the time, and that comes in handy. Sort of. It causes trouble also. So we know how Enzo is a landscaper. Well, he started doing landscaping work for Suzette and her husband. He ended up going over to their home a lot, but he was doing it because Suzette was a realtor and she knew a lot of people. So Enzo helping Suzette would get him a lot of clients. So for him, it was a smart move. He wanted to get more clients to make more money so he could provide for his family, and so he could afford the house that they just bought. But Millie doesn't like that because she sees how much Suzette is flirting with him, and she just doesn't like it. When she talks to the creepy neighbor, the neighbor says, watch out for Suzette, like she's bad news, watch out for your husband because something's gonna happen. Millie takes that to heart. So anytime Enzo is around Suzette, she gets really jealous, and she tries to explain to him, like, I don't want you going over there all the time. It looks suspicious. He starts not telling her and he's over there all the time, but he always claims that it's because he's doing landscaping work. That will get Enzo in trouble in the long run. I really hope you go and read this, but you have to read these 2 first, The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret. It doesn't really talk about anything that's happened in the past that you would need to know. So I guess you could read this on its own, honestly, but I would really suggest reading the other 2 books. That's the Housemaid series. I'm sad that it's ending. I wish more books were coming out, but I also think that it was like the perfect ending. Okay, next we're getting to a book that I finished in June on vacation again. So I started this in April. You probably already know what it is because I said this earlier. I started it in April. It was one of those books that Book Talk had recommended over and over and over again because it's a series and it's so good. I was like, okay, I'll buy it. But I'm not going to buy the whole series. I'll just buy the one book, so if I don't like it, I don't have to spend the money on the rest of the books. Spoiler alert, I did not like this book. This book is Twisted Love. I don't even think I could do like a whole overview of this book because I just wanted to finish it. I didn't try and understand everything because I just wanted to say I finished the book so I could put it on my bookshelf, give it to my friends if they want to try it out. But yeah, no thanks. So this is about a guy named Alex and a girl named Ava. Alex is Ava's older brother Josh's best friend. I think Josh was a pilot. Alex, I don't remember. I think he was just his friend. Josh asks Alex to watch his sister while he's away. She's also in college, but he just wanted him to keep an eye out for her. And Alex is like very closed off. I don't know. The thing says he has a heart of ice. Ava always tried to try and be his friend and stuff. She would brought him cookies and stuff like that. He was just never interested. I guess people would consider this a slow burn. It wasn't like enemies to lovers because they were sort of family, because Alex went to all of their holidays and stuff because his family wasn't around. I wouldn't say it's a slow burn like enemies to lovers, but I would say it's a slow burn like it just took forever for them to finally get together. And that's something I don't really like. I need to stop reading slow burns if I don't like slow burns. So I guess that's one of the main reasons that I didn't like it that much, is because it was a slow burn. I need to find romances that are like instant almost, but I guess no romance book is going to be like that because they have to have like a plot and everything. But anyway, I also didn't like it because it was kind of, I shouldn't say kind of, when Alex and Ava finally got together, there were a lot of spicy scenes for the rest of the book. I was really thankful that at the beginning of the book it wasn't all spicy scenes, and then once they started understanding their feelings toward each other, it was all spicy after that. But then he's not in with the mafia or anything. He's trying to get revenge on the people that killed his whole family. He thinks that Ava's dad is the one that killed his whole family. So that's one of the reasons he got really close with Ava and Josh. But then he actually ended up really liking Josh. They became best friends. And then him and Ava, obviously, they had a little relationship. I forgot, Ava, she has like PTSD or something because when she was younger, it says that her mom pushed her into the lake by their house or the river by their house. So she has like a very big phobia of any body of water. But Alex, when they sort of start to get together, he helps her through that. Like I said, there's a lot of spicy scenes. It's kind of cringy to me, and I know a lot of books are going to be like that. I just need to find a genre that really nails what I am interested in. Like this, so it's called Twisted Love, but then the little caption at the top says, he has a heart of ice, but for her, he'd burn the world. I should have known from that alone that I wasn't going to like this book because that was kind of cringy. It kind of reminded me of like, I'm the alpha. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say here? You are the light to my dark sunshine. Without you, I'm lost. Like, I don't know why I thought I would like this book. I didn't get any background information. I just saw it on Book Talk and was like, I'll get it. So I didn't really like this book, but I just wanted to finish it, kind of rushed through it. So my overview isn't that good. If you think you would like this book, watch someone else. Watch someone else that really enjoyed this book. But it's just not for me. Then the last book I read, I started it June 29th or something, and I finished it July 2nd. Anyway, that is Never Lie. It's another Frida McFadden book. I talked about this in my first video. I did sort of an overview, but it wasn't the best overview. I think I can do better. Ever since I read the Housemaid series, I've been obsessed with Frida McFadden. I bought all of her books that they have at Barnes & Noble, which is not even close to all of them, but I just don't know where to buy them, so I'll probably get them from Amazon, or I'll see if any other bookstores have them. This book is about these newlyweds, Ethan and Trisha. They've only known each other for like a little over a year. They got engaged after only a few months of knowing each other, so people were kind of skeptical of that. Since they're newlyweds, they're looking for houses, and they go to this one house. While they're driving, it's in the middle of a snowstorm. They finally get to this house. It's like in the middle of nowhere. The little tiny road that leads to the house is completely snowed over, so when they finally get to a spot where they can stop, their car is stuck. Like, they're doomed. So they get out of the car. They still have a little bit down this trail to walk to the house. They finally get to the house and they're waiting for the realtor, but the realtor didn't show, so they end up finding one of the spare keys that are outside, and they unlock the door. They go in. Immediately they feel this like very suspicious scary aura throughout the whole house. There's this huge painting on the top of the mantle. It's of a woman. It's kind of an eerie picture for Trisha for some reason, and also for Ethan. He actually like couldn't take his eyes off of it, like he was so creeped out by it. Trisha, from the beginning, we know that she does not want this house, but Ethan, as soon as he gets into the house, he's in love with it. They figure out how to turn on the heat and stuff, and so they're like, we gotta stay the night here. There's nothing we can do about it. It turns out that the house belonged to an author and a therapist, Dr. Adrian Hale. It turns out that this therapist, she went missing 3 years ago. When they learn that this is her house, Trisha's like, oh my goodness, we're not living here. There's no way. Then Trisha and Ethan have to stay the night there. Eventually, Trisha finds a secret room. You know those movies where there's a bookcase and you pull a book and then it reveals a secret room? That's what happened. She pulls the book because it's one of her favorite books. She tries to pull it out and it opens a door and there's a secret room. She goes into this secret room, and like I said, Adrian Hale was also a therapist. So when she goes into this room, she sees all of these tapes. They have the first and last initial of every patient that Adrian Hale ever had. So she recorded all of her sessions with her clients. So Trisha starts listening to these tapes, and she doesn't tell Ethan that she found these because he calls her a busybody. So she keeps it a secret from him. I believe they stayed at this house for like more than just one night. I think they had to stay like 2 or 3 nights. One of the tapes that Trisha listens to, there's a whole collection of this person named EJ. The whole book I'm thinking Ethan is EJ. Like he's one of the patients and he's coming back to this house. He loves this house. There's a reason. EJ becomes really creepy with the therapist. He gets this video of the therapist doing something that could get her fired, and so he's blackmailing her into still treating him even though he's like dangerous. This was seriously one of the best books I've ever read. I rated this a 10 out of 10. It was exactly what I was looking for, and I think that is why thriller is now the genre that I'm leaning more towards. When I got into reading, I thought that I would be interested in romance and like falling in love stories, and I'm realizing that that's not what I want. So these are the books that I read in the month of June. Right now I am reading The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. Anyway, so yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I gave a good enough overview that you can decide on your own whether you want to buy these books or not. I definitely recommend The Outside too, but Twisted Love was just not for me. But everyone's taste is different, so you might like it. If you guys have any suggestions for what I should do, I have a list of things that I want to put on this channel. I can do books that I read in 2023. At the end of this year, I could do books that I read in 2024. Just please let me know what you want. If you like this video, please go check out my other video. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one.